This episode, we go through the exciting new cruise ships you should be looking at in 2025. And there's a lot to look forward to, from lavish to fun. We'll look at some of the most technologically advanced ships ever launched, some that your kids and family would absolutely love you for, and we've got some really super deluxe ships if you want to splash some cash. We've got a great one for gourmet lovers, and two mega ships that are dueling it out to be crowned the biggest and the best. And then finally a ship that we think will be our absolute favourite of the lot. All this coming up. Welcome back to the Ritzy Travel Guide. My name is Bill, and it's great to have you along with us. Our annual review of new cruise ships is always a fun one, as it gives us a chance to scan our eye over all the new scheduled launches. Find out how many of them will actually launch, because trust me, it's often right down to the wire, and it will be a race to get them out in time. In this episode, I've selected the launches that I think are really worth getting excited about, and there are 9 of them we're going to take a look at. And I've selected one from each category, so that means everything from megaship right down to small little luxury yachts. We'll also have a fun segment looking at how technology is evolving. Because on some ships, you'll now be able to track a friend or family member in real time and see where they are on the ship. Would you like that? We'll show you how that works. And one of the most interesting stories we're going to have is one of the major cruise lines, you've all heard of it, buying up a partially built ship off another company and then rebranding it as their own. It's a really interesting story, that one, and we want to show it to you as it's one of the major launches for 2025. So off we go, 9 ships to show you. We're going to be doing it in completely random order, from 9 down to 1. Here's the first one on the list. Right, let's start with an interesting one, and it's a brand new gleaming ship from Norwegian Cruise Lines. Their ships are always colourful. This one is called the Aqua, and it could well suit a lot of people looking at the middle sector of cruising. I'll explain what I mean in a moment. And the maiden is scheduled for April 2025. It's a mid-size ship with 3,600 passengers, and the Aqua is an update to its 2 most recent ships, the Norwegian Prima and Viva. But this one is 10% larger than both of those, so it's now in a subcategory of its own called Prima Plus. So let's see what NCL has done, what that extra 10% has changed. So this time round, NCL is trying to shout from the rooftops that their ships are good for both kids and adults, and they're going to be more sophisticated and more premium. So on the one side, that means adrenaline rides, and on the other, sophisticated dining rooms and bars, all in one package. So let's see what they've done, and will it wow you? Well, on the adrenaline side, they've gone for broke and have the new Aqua Slide Coaster, which is a water slide cum roller coaster that claims to be a world first, offering dual slide with a magnetic gripping system that propels riders through 2 courses for a race environment. And still on the adrenaline front, there is the Drop, a 10-story free-fall slide into a splash pool below at unbelievable speeds. They say it's going to be fairly heart-pounding. I can believe that. Inside is getting a thrill update too. A new digital sports complex is being introduced called Glow Court. It will have an interactive LED floor, and by night this venue transforms into a nightclub. Now, one of the complaints we're getting with Prima and Viva is that the pool areas are too small and pinched, and a bigger, better pool deck is going in. The adults-only Vibe Beach Club is almost twice as big as before. To create all these bigger pool areas, they've had to delete one of their major features. And what is that? The go-kart track. The go-karts have gone. Deleted. Now, these got a lot of publicity a few years ago when they went in. Norwegian thought it would be a real vote winner, but they were also very controversial. While some liked them, a lot of people thought they were a complete nuisance and wasted a lot of space. And those go-karts are history. Okay, inside, what has changed with dining? Norwegian say they're mixing things up. There will be some new outlets along with existing ones, such as Sukatai, Norwegian's first ever Thai restaurant. And I think this might well be a popular addition. Also new will be Plantery, their first plant-based eatery. And then Swirl Bar, which it says it will offer enthusiasts an upmarket venue to sample their selections. Restaurants they are retaining include Cagney's Steakhouse, the Hudson Main Dining Room, Los Lobos Mexican. There will also be a Hasuki Japanese and Onda Italian. Now, let's look at cabins, and two aspects I want to highlight here. NCL is really good for families and also solo travelers. So let's look at those two first. Solo travelers are an increasing group on cruises, but most lines rip them off with huge supplements and limited offerings. Not so with NCL. In fact, they seem to be going out of their way to help solos. What are they offering here? Well, a small cabin, but with a benefit. It's sized very compactly, very, very small, just 96 square feet, because typically an inside cabin might be 150 square feet, so these are small, but I think they're designed quite nicely. So why would you pick one of these small cabins? Well, in return, you get access to a private studio lounge. And most importantly, there is no single supplement. The other group Norwegian is good for is families, such as here, the family cabin sleeping 4. Next, the balcony suite. This is for those who want the extra space, but don't want to pay for the exclusive Haven section. It's a good middle ground. Talking of the Haven, which is the ship within a ship separate section, this has been expanded. There are now 123 suites, quite a lot, all with butler service. And there are some additional cabin varieties to choose from, such as a 3-bedroom duplex suite in the Haven with 3 bathrooms and a large balcony. So what's our thoughts on the Aqua? Well, I think Norwegian could be onto something here. Until we see it in person, it's difficult to know for sure, but they're heading definitely in the right direction. And they'll be heading this way even more, because looking 2 years from now, their new ship will be called Luna, and that's even more adult-orientated. In general, we think this one does look promising. Okay, playing the roulette wheel of ships categories, who should we look at next? It's from Royal Caribbean and their new ship, the Star of the Seas. Not only is it one of the biggest releases, it's also the biggest ship by size that's coming out in 2025. It's following hard on the heels of the Icon on the Seas and is in the same class, same category. It's launching sailings from Port Canaveral in Florida from August 2025 onwards, offering 7-night sailings around the Eastern Caribbean. So as not to be a complete duplicate of Icon, there are a variety of differences. First off, Royal Caribbean is going to absolutely double down on its target audience, meaning youth, kids and families. There's going to be an even bigger emphasis. The Surfside neighborhood is going to have even more for older kids and teens. Also returning to Star of the Seas, some of their favourites, such as the water park. There'll be the Crown's Edge again. There'll be 7 pools, including Cloud 17, the adults-only pool to give you some respite from kids, and also the Infinity Pool at the aft returns. Also, the Aqua Theatre is very much back, situated under that giant glass dome. Food outlets, the Aquadome Marketplace, their quick serve area, well, that's going to evolve. Elsewhere, there's a new dining outlet called the Lincoln Park Supper Club, with a 1930s Chicago theme and music. As for cabins, as you can expect from Royal Caribbean, there's a huge array to choose from. Let's go through a few of those. There's an interior balcony, which faces inwards to the heart of the ship, not to the sea. Some like these, others not. And there's also this, the very contentious infinite veranda. You get these on the latest celebrity ships too, which is actually a window rather than a balcony. And then there's some others, such as the fanciful townhouse. Here we go, there's the inside of that. Would you like one of these? There's also a variety of other family suites, all with stunning locations and high prices to match. Now, at the beginning of this, we said there were some technology advancements coming this year, and Royal Caribbean is one of those leading the charge. They're trialling a feature called Kid Finder Tracking. Kids put a band on their wrist and then you can then track them in the app, see where they are. Now, if you think about this, this is useful beyond kids. Perhaps for hunting down an absent-minded older relative who's gone roving around the ship and disappeared off the face of the earth. Or for keeping tabs on a partner who told you they were going to the gym, but actually you can track them down and see that they're eating cake in the buffet. The use case of this tracker is endless. Now, would you want this? Would you want to be tracked all around the ship? Well, Royal Caribbean thinks so, and Kid Finder is for that. But you can strap it on to anybody. In addition to that, Royal Caribbean is also about to roll out facial recognition. Where? On your cabin door. No more fumbling for keycards or tapping a bracelet against a pad. That's so last year. It won't be available on every cabin grade, but will be coming in phases. You'll just saunter up to your door and open sesame, in you go. Now, what about prices? And you have to hope that with their second ship, these will come down, because Icon prices at times have been absolutely eye-watering. But RCL has gotten away with this for years, so who knows? Passengers seem prepared to pay an absolute premium for Royal Caribbean's newest and flashiest. But it's a bit like Disney. Every year those ticket prices go up and up, yet they're still full. RCL has a reputation for spending the big dollars and charging the big dollars. Prices will probably remain sky high. Right, do you fancy looking at a really high-end luxury option? Well, we have one for you. And it's from the cruise line called Ritz-Carlton. It's called the Luminara. With a name like that, Ritz-Carlton, how could we not look at it on our channel, the Ritzy Travel Guide? It's practically made for us. It's for those looking to blow the budget completely and really treat yourself. They are very much all-inclusive and super luxurious. There are currently 2 in their fleet, the Evrima and the Ilma. This is going to be expanded in 2025 with a third, the Luminara. And it will be their biggest so far, 46,000 tons, carrying just 452 passengers. So a very small ship. You could almost call it a super yacht rather than a cruise ship. It has just 226 suites, all with their own private terrace. Initially, it will specialize in itineraries to Europe, particularly around Greece and Mediterranean. Most of these will be for 7 to 10 nights, and they pride themselves on, as you'd expect, high levels of service and gourmet cuisine. And because of their yacht size, you can visit those smaller, interesting ports that larger ships can't get to, with prices to match. Because with Ritz, it's all about exclusivity and personalizing your experience. And there is a 1-to-1 passenger-to-staff ratio on board. Now, if you're itching to know how much it will cost to cruise with Ritz-Carlton, well, figure out a minimum of $1,400 per night, per person, and that's for some of their more basic Caribbean destinations, but rises to $12,000 per person for a 7-night cruise to a more unique destination. It all depends on the cabin grade, and there's a big selection right up to the owner's suite. As you might expect, that price does include a fully inclusive experience aboard, food, drinks, and shore excursions. And if you want to revel in that luxury a bit longer, here's a sample from their 2026 sailing list. At the time of that year, they'll be in Asia. You could visit Hong Kong and Japan. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do give it a thumbs up, give it a like, as it lets us know we're on the right track, and we'll try to put out more of this type of material. Now, how about we take a cruise line that's offering 2 things at once? It's for the foodies and also in the premium sector. It's just 1 notch down from luxury, but it's definitely fair and square in premium. Who are we talking about? Oceania and their new ship, the Allura. Oceania is part of the Norwegian Cruise Lines group, but they operate relatively independently. And they now have 8 ships and offer what they like to think is upscale cruising. They offer a smaller ship, premium cruise experience. And what are Oceania mostly famous for? Well, it's their tagline, that they have the finest cuisine at sea. Now that is a big claim. They've been saying it for years, but is it true? Let's look at their new ship and then their culinary offerings. Now, their new ship, the Allura, was supposed to be having its maiden cruise in spring 2025, but it's a case of timeline slipping. This is increasingly happening these days with new ship launches. They are not quite ready, and then they have to announce a delayed maiden. But this slipping of dates with Oceania does highlight the risk of buying into an inaugural sailing. You will always get a refund or a credit if it happens, but you have the hassle of changing flights, hotels, and other incidental costs. It's a whole other video. I I may put out in the future, highlighting the pitfalls and risks of booking a maiden. It is for that reason we tend not to book maidens, but wait a few months. So the maiden has now been pushed back, and the new inaugural sailing is set for July 2025. It's going from Athens in Greece and ending in Monte Carlo. Sounds a glamorous itinerary, doesn't it? And we did pretty much exactly this itinerary last year, but with their competitor, Azamara. And you can watch that video after this if you want to know what it's like sailing around the Italian Riviera. I've left a link up here and in the description. So let's see what the Oceania Allura has. Small to medium sized by today's standards, the Allura will have 1,200 passengers. So that means 2 crew members for every 3 guests, which is an impressive ratio. Here's the pool deck, and as you can expect, it has an upmarket and contemporary feel to it. Personally, I think they've done a good job with this. It strikes the right tone. It does have a classic cruise liner feel to it, not overly fussy and elegant. Okay, now on to the cuisine. First off, their culinary centre is front and centre. This is their hands-on cooking school at sea. Yes, whilst you're on a cruise, you can attend cooking and chefery classes. In fact, it's been 15 years since Oceania first started having these, back in 2010, on their marina ship. And this time, they'll be offering 60 immersive cooking courses on board, with expert instructors. Let's now go through the restaurants, if you don't fancy cooking your own food, and there are quite a few for a relatively smaller ship. Let's start with the most posh, decadent dining outlet aboard, why not? And that would be the Grand Dining Room. They say it will evoke the ambiance of a sophisticated European hotel with the finest chandeliers. Apparently they'll be serving items such as Tornados Rossini with decadent foie gras and a truffle sauce, and what they call impossibly rich lobster bisque with silky notes of Armagnac cream. If you want Oriental food, you could try Red Ginger, which will be offering Pan-Asian dishes. Oceania's saying you could imagine you're sitting in Singapore. There they'll be serving Thai, Korean, Japanese and other Asian dishes. There's Toscana for some Italian Tuscan delights. And brand new on Allura is a creperie, tempting you with European-style light bites. I reckon that one's going to be popular. And on that theme, if you're wanting something very traditional, well, right out of the Cunard playbook, they serve afternoon tea, with delicacies such as mirror glazed petit four, tender scones. I've never heard of scones being referred to as tender before, but anyway, scones of some texture with rich clotted cream, and of course, fine teas poured with precision from the white-gloved servers. Sounds bliss. Right, now let's look at the cabins. And Oceania say theirs are some of the largest and most comfortable at sea, and some nice balcony cabins, but I thought I might just dangle a couple of feature cabin choices in front of you. How about this one? If you've got loads of spare cash to splash, it's the owner suite. There we go, it's practically a condominium all on its own, as it's 2,400 square feet. You could throw a party or a convention, and furnishing is courtesy of Ralph Lauren. And it does come with its own dining room if you don't want to mingle with anybody else. It's a huge walk-in closet if you think you're going to be staying there forever, and a whopping great bathroom. It's almost a Turkish bath complex. Has your own butler, of course, to do the washing up. Now, just a notch down are these, the Vista Suites. Also pretty sizable, 1,500 square feet. You get a living room, dining room, bar, and master suite, with marble and oak coming at you from every angle. And you get a large teak floor veranda, perfect for viewing at Monte Carlo as you sweep in. And the final cabins we'll look at are the Oceania Suites. There are 14 of these. They've also got a living room and a dining room, huge bathroom dripping with marble, and a study area, which could be a guest studio if you want to invite someone in. Me, how about me? There is a whole raft of cabin choices below that, but I thought we'd just have a little fun and show you those in the creme de la creme section. So that's the Allura, hopefully having its maiden in August 2025. Fingers crossed. We haven't been on Oceania for a couple of years, so our feelings are a little bit out of date, so let us know what you think. By the way, Ritzy Travel Guide is on Instagram and Facebook. If you enjoy following us around in real time, in between filming for YouTube, you can follow us on both of these. you'll see what we get up to, the countries we visit, and behind the scenes. The channel name is the same as here, Ritzy Travel Guide. There is the link up at the top, and I'll also put the address in the description box for this video. So follow along with us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you in those. Still to come, our mystery pick for best ship of 2025. Okay, playing the roulette wheel of ships categories. Who should we look at next? Well, one of the most well-known cruise lines who in 2025 is going to release not one, but 2 new cruise ships. Now, who is it and why on earth would they do that? Yes, it's from Disney. They're launching one ship that will be home-ported in Florida, that's called the Disney Destiny, and one in Asia, interestingly enough, and that's going to be called the Adventure. Not many cruise lines home port in Asia, but these 2 ships will be quite different to each other, so we're going to take a look at both. Let's take a peek first at the one that's going to be in Asia, because that one has a really interesting backstory to it. So here we go, the Disney Adventure, and it's the largest ship Disney have ever come up with. But here's the twist. It's not even a new ship that they've built from scratch. Nope, they bought a partly built one off somebody else. Strange but true, because during the pandemic, an Asian cruise company called Genting went bust. At the time, they were halfway through building a new ship, and this is what it was going to look like under their company banner. It was going to be called the Genting Global Dream, a large ship over 200,000 gross tons, and it was going to cater to 4,000 passengers, and it was going to showcase the latest that China and Asia had to offer, with, for the time, some really cutting-edge technology, such as facial recognition, but this was going to be introduced 5 years before everybody else. They were going to have theme parks up on top, with the largest roller coaster at sea. Well, when Genting Cruises folded, the ship was never finished. Nobody really wanted it until, surprisingly, Disney stepped in and bought it. Nobody predicted that one. So, here's what it's going to look like under new ownership as a Disney ship. So, as mentioned, it's the biggest cruise ship Disney have ever operated and is going to launch in December 2025 and will be home-ported in Singapore for at least the first 5 years, and they will be operating 3- and 4-night itineraries. Because that's a short itinerary, they hope the ship itself will be a destination. There's quite a few firsts, so let's take a quick look around before we go to look at that other ship in Florida. On deck, there will be the Marvel Character Zone. Disney did decide to retain the roller coaster that Genting Dream started. And they claim it will be the longest roller coaster at sea, 820 foot long to be exact. You will be on a Tony Stark-inspired vehicle, and Wayfinder Bay, a huge open pool and deck area at the aft of the ship. Also a performance venue putting on live shows, with Moana already listed to appear. And if you're into gaming, there will be a big Hero Arcade, a family gaming lounge, which will also include a training simulator. Right at the heart of the ship will be Imagination Garden, featuring 3-deck high screens. There will be 7 different zones that they say will be completely immersive. At Discovery Reef, you can shop, dine and play. A zone where you can imagine you're underwater with Little Mermaid, Lilo and Stitch, and Finding Nemo. As for dining, there will be 3 distinctly themed main restaurants, harking back to the golden days of Hollywood in the 30s and 40s. There will be 2 unusual animated restaurants, such as Animator's Palette, decorated with film strips and props. There's a couple of buffets on board, such as this one evoking the movie Tangled, and a multitude of other outlets. Very quick look at the cabins. As you can expect from Disney, there will be family rooms with a variety of bed configurations and some bright and airy balcony cabins. If you want to go right up the price bracket, you could go concierge with its dedicated areas. Here's the private retreat. As the Disney Adventure is far bigger than all the other Disney ships, the facilities for concierge class are also far bigger, with a huge outdoor dedicated and exclusive deck area. Right, that's the Disney ship that's going to be in Asia. Let's look at the second one, which is going to be home ported much more normally for them in Florida, and it's called the Destiny. Just for comparison, it's 50% smaller than the Adventure, which I was just showing you, and will carry between 2,400 to 4,000 passengers, depending on cabin occupancy. Its overall theme is heroes and villains, and there will be lots of nods to Marvel's Black Panther films. A couple of venues just to mention to you. Just off the Grand Hall will be DeVille's, a lounge themed on Cruella DeVille from 101 Dalmatians. Check out the grand piano, it's all dotty. But it's one for the adults. It's a cocktail bar specialising in martinis and high-end bubbly. Next to that, you'll find the Sanctum, inspired by the character Doctor Strange, also scheduled to be a theme bar. And just across from that will be the Haunted Mansion Parlour. It's also on the Disney Treasure. Just like riding the theme parks, drinking amongst the cobwebs, holograms all over the place. Is the inner kid in you suddenly bubbling to the surface when you look at this? Just a quick peep at a couple of the dining rooms. First off is the world of Marvel. You'll be joined on the interactive motion walls by characters from Guardian of the Galaxy. And upper level on deck 5, Pride Land's Lion King. It's a musical dining experience. As you dine, you'll be entertained by a musical version of The Lion King. The venue will be decorated as if you're in this sweeping African savannah. And as you feast, you can sing along to the Circle of Life and Hakuna Matata. Destiny will sail 4- and 5-night cruises from Fort Lauderdale in Florida, all around the Caribbean. So there we go, 2 new ships coming from Disney. Which one do you prefer? Which would you like to go on? Would you fly out to Asia and try the adventure, or stick to the one in Florida? Do let us know. Where shall we go to next? How about a cruise line that's got quite a lot of history behind it, and that's Princess. And their new ship coming in October 2025, it's the Star Princess. This is the same class of ship as the Sun Princess, what they call the Sphere class. Now let's hope to God it gets off to a better start than the Sun Princess did, which had an appalling debut in 2024. I don't think even Princess could deny that one. First of all, its maiden was delayed multiple times. That maiden was cancelled twice, just days before boarding, with passengers hopping mad, as some were already en route to Europe to board the ship. It was all an embarrassing episode for Princess. So what can we expect with their latest ship? Well, it's continuing its move away from its traditional roots and pushing much more towards the family market. Back in the day, Princess was considered for an older crowd, a bit like Holland America or Cunard. Not anymore. Their new ships are trying to skew younger, putting more kids' attractions on board. Good news if you're a family, but less so if you want a predominantly adult experience. And at 178,000 gross tons, it has 4,300 passengers. They're not quite mega ships, but they certainly are large ones. Double the size of more traditional Princess cruise ships already out there. You might say that the main feature of these ships, the crown jewel, is the dome. It's located on the Lido Deck 17. It's like a huge domed conservatory, the first of its kind on a cruise ship. By day, it's a temperature-controlled pool area in a stadium-type setup, with lounges on tiered decks. Be aware, you'll probably have to get up very early to secure a spot in here, especially on sea days. And the pool will be unusual in that you can swim from the inside to the outside. By night, the dome will turn into a stage and performance venue. Additionally, there are 2 more pools midships, and it's quite a spacious area. The piazza will be back right in the centre. It's a multi-purpose, part performance, part gathering venue, with a huge LED screen dominating the sightlines. The area is large and spans 3 stories. A couple of outlets that you should expect to be there, Bellini's Cocktail Bar, and then the nearby Crooner's Piano Bar. Harking back to famous singers from the 50s and 60s, it's in a nod to the Rat Pack days. And beyond that, an unassuming door taking you to Spellbound, a fascinating Victorian-themed bar where magicians entertain you. It's an immersive experience. It is speciality at a cost and includes dinner, cocktails and a magic show. It's currently priced at $149. Other restaurants expected to make a return are Makoto Ocean, which is a Japanese outlet, along with the attached Ume Teppanyaki. Sabatini's Italian Trattoria will also make a return. It has, after all, been on every Princess ship for almost a quarter of a century. The crown grille, though, is a mystery, as there are rumours it may or may not be on the Star Princess. Some say a new version of this may be unveiled. The Butcher's Block, though, their upscale bistro, is confirmed as returning. Now, a point of contention, the buffet. You might expect that buffet to be by the Lido deck. After all, it is, on almost 99% of other ships, which allows you to drift from pool to buffet. Not so on the Sun Princess, and looks like it won't be again on the Star. The buffet is several decks down and has drawn a lot of complaints. It's a strange and slightly inconvenient location. If we're staying on controversial points, let's talk about Park 19. What is that, you say? Well, it's a family activity zone on the top deck, including the Seabreeze glider ride. These were built and installed on Sun Princess, but never opened, and a whole variety of reasons were given as to why not. We've now learnt that that section is never coming to Star Princess. So right at the top there will be a new Skydeck sports area, such as pickleball and basketball. That's the replacement for Park 19, the mini theme park that never materialised. So at this juncture, it is a pretty small list of differences between the class of 2024 and 2025. Now, you could either see that as a compliment to the fact that they reckon they got the ship right first time round, or incremental changes is now the new norm at Princess. I think one of the most important points to make here is, are you the right target market? Because with these two new ships, Princess is changing their emphasis slightly. It always used to be perhaps more for the middle-aged or upper segment of the market, and now they are aiming much more at the family demographic. Is that what's right for you? If not, you might prefer one of the older Princess ships already out there. In a moment, we're going to take a look at our personal top ship for 2025. Okay, who should we go to next? Well, we've already looked at Royal Caribbean. How about we now take a look at a cruise line that's trying to take Royal Caribbean head-on, wants to be them really, also has mega ships aiming at the family. And who are we talking about? MSC. And I guarantee when I mentioned that name, it either had one of two reactions. Either a groan because people don't like them, or people said fantastic. They offer really good value cruises. There's no middle ground. People either love or hate them. In fact, when we put out a video on them 2 years ago, we were a little bit critical. Not of everything, but in parts.
MSC is one of those cruise lines which people either love or absolutely hate, and routinely gets shocking and poor reviews online. Yet others say the exact opposite, and that they're just misunderstood and offer outstanding value for money. So how can MSC be both awful and amazing at the same time?
So, in the interest of being fair and reasonable, we're here showing you their new one. Who knows, you and I might all like it. So, here we go. The ship that MSC is launching is called MSC World America, with the maiden in April 2025. Now, this is an update to one of their ships that's already out called World Europa. And this new MSC World America will be an absolute mega ship, almost 1,100 foot long, 22 decks, and a maximum capacity of 6,700 passengers. Yes, indeed. And it will sail from Miami and has been configured almost exclusively for the North American market. So, with this one, let's call it an optimization for the US market. There's going to be new bars, new restaurant public areas, and experiences that MSC thinks Americans and Canadians would like. So let's go through some of the zones to see if you'll like them. There are 7 of them. There is the harbour. The activities here are wet and dry, including an aqua park, an indoor theme park. You'll have zip lines in a lighthouse. Here they are building it. Then there is the ride called Cliffhanger. It's perched right at the top of the ship. There are 4 seats that go right off the edge, soaring 160 feet above the ocean. There's also the Jaw Drop, a 250-foot slide with a shark mouth entrance. There's the Trails route course. This is on most of the latest MSC ships, and it makes a return here. The main pool is called the Aqua Deck, a huge area in the centre. They've also provided an adults-only Zen area right at the aft of the ship. Now, the heart of all of this is inside the Galleria. This section has been on MSC ships for a while and reappears here. But MSC are providing what they think is quintessentially North American. They're putting in sports bars and food trucks. There will also be a comedy club and a dueling piano bar. And for kids, it is what they say is the first at-sea, full-sized Lego zone. You'll also find right through the centre the promenade. Is all this looking and sounding a little bit familiar? Is this an imitation of a well-known cruise line, or is it a progression? Give me your thoughts on that. MSC also continues with its ship within a ship concept, which is called the Yacht Club. It's for suite guests and again takes up a huge chunk, a huge percentage of the ship. This has been one of the criticisms, that Yacht Club is taking away a lot of space from everybody else, and it's larger than ever before. It has 152 suites. You'll get expansive private sun decks, pools and hot tubs, with a bar and grill, private cabanas, dedicated restaurants and bars, and you'll be given a premium drinks package, along with a butler and other perks. So, what do you reckon? Is it a Royal Caribbean contender? Will it beat them at their own game? What do you think? Are you going to try it? Should we give it a go here at the Ritzy Travel Guide? Let us know, drop your comments down in the box below. We always like to hear from people. Right, we're down to the final 2 new ships on our list. Who are they? Well, first, let's go to Virgin Voyages and their new one for 2025, the Brilliant Lady. One of the most controversial cruise lines out there. And it's perfect if you want an adults-only cruise with absolutely zero, and I mean zero kids, then you can consider Virgin Voyages. They've only been around for 4 years, and are now on to their 4th ship. It will be called the Brilliant Lady, with a passenger capacity of 2,700. It will be an almost 99% identical copy of the earlier 3, with very fractional differences. Virgin are trying to stir up the cruise industry, claiming they are doing things very differently. Boy, is that true! They have risque and raunchy shows that nobody else at sea even attempts. And their entire product is very much larger than life. It's not for everyone though. Some love their way of doing it, others absolutely not. It all depends on your character. They also have great fitness facilities, a huge amount of outdoor deck areas, and some amazing restaurants aboard, all quite different, quite unique, and they are included in the fair price. They're also famous for their cabins, and you see a lot of these pictures online for a few reasons. Firstly, because of the hammock balconies, where you can rock yourself while watching the sunset, and the sea terrace cabins have touch control, iPad style, to control lighting moods in your cabin. It's a bit gimmicky, but some people seem to like them. Virgin also have Rockstar suites for those who want to pay up for something a little bit different. You can imagine you're in a hard rock style hotel back on land with unusual furniture and toys to play with. We just came off a Virgin Voyages cruise and made 2 videos of our experience, showing you exactly what you could expect, whether you'd like it or not, so you can decide if it would be for you. The links are up here at the top right, and I've also put the links down in the description of this video. Right, we've got to the last ship, but before we show you that, just a quick word what's coming up on our channel over the next couple of months. Next to be released is our series on Holland America. This is the cruise line that's often considered a natural competitor or alternative to Cunard. We were just aboard the Rotterdam, that is the Holland America flagship. We were on a 12-nighter through the Panama Canal. We'll show you that and give you our opinion on the Holland America experience. Interestingly, there are a lot of similarities between the Rotterdam and the new Cunard Queen Anne, as they are effectively the same ship, what's called the Pinnacle class. They have the same hull, superstructure, and almost identical layouts. By going on both ships within just a matter of weeks of each other, it gave us an excellent opportunity to directly compare Cunard against Holland America. Look out for that, coming soon. Remember to be subscribed to our channel so you know when that video series arrives. Subscription is free, it doesn't cost anything, but just lets you know when those videos are ready. Okay, now let's look at the one we've kept till last, and the one we think will be our personal favourite for 2025, and it's from Celebrity. And it's their new ship called the Excel, spelt with an X, not an E. So why do we think it will be our favourite of 2025? Because we feel that Celebrity is the line that's getting a lot of things right. Others are veering off, trying to appeal to too many people, cover too many bases, and then often falling short somewhere in the middle. Celebrity has locked itself into its target market and reinforcing its offering. In fact, 1 year ago we put out a video about its then flagship, the Ascent, asking the question, is it the best all-round cruise ship out there? The emphasis being on all-round, because we feel it really does hit the sweet spot in being smart enough, with great all-round facilities, fantastic cuisine, it's well designed, with some beautiful outdoor decks, some lovely pool areas, and it's got all the up-to-date technology and facilities that you'd want for, all wrapped up at a reasonable price point. After this video, you can go back and watch that review. Here's the link up here, top right, and I'll also leave the link in the description. So that was last year. This time their offering is the Excel, building upon their existing Edge class of ships. It's not too flashy, it's not too huge, and it's not too expensive. With 3,000 passengers, it's just about right. Celebrity is in the premium sector. That's a notch below luxury, but it's definitely a jump up from the affordable mass market. So, what can we expect from the new Celebrity Excel? The main atrium, called the Grand Plaza, is again going to be the main feature. We love this one on the Ascent. It's a buzzy, atmospheric position on the ship. And here's the footage we took from the Ascent a few months ago. It's part bar, part live music venue, and a lot of waiters being flamboyant. Changes for Excel apparently are being made to this to make it more airy, with more views to the outside. The Excel will continue to have 4 main dining rooms, all complimentary in the cruise fare. And this is a real selling feature for Celebrity. Rather than having just 1 main dining room, there are 4, and you can pick and choose to your heart's content. There's the Normandy French, the Tuscan Grill, which serves Italian, the Cosmopolitan Contemporary American, and then Cyprus, which serves Greek and Cypriot cuisine. Excel will also feature a number of additional specialty restaurants mirroring the previous Edge class. And the Eden Restaurant, Bar and Performance Complex is featuring again on the Excel, and we like this section. It has a great look, it's very airy, most importantly has a lot of seating, and is a real feature of the ship. Amazing ceiling to floor views, it wraps all around you very immersively. The swimming pools have always been excellent, and there is a rumour that the roof garden is going to see some changes. This is the area right at the top of the ship. Now on any other ship, this section is normally neglected, with nothing going on here. And it's all credit to Celebrity for creating a really nice zone. It's a bit like Central Park with pickleball and a zen relaxation area with infinity hot tubs. And also a great sunset bar at the back. So what's changing? Apparently they're extending this whole area and making it more immersive. And some parts will apparently sort of drip off the edge or cantilever out. We're not referring to the magic carpet, which already juts out and moves up and down the side. No, apparently the roof garden is going to have sections which appear to hang out in various areas. It's all in the rumour mill at the moment, but keep an eye out for that. As usual, they will have a range of cabins, including this one, the Infinite Veranda, which possibly gets more publicity, more attention than any other cabin online. And you see it both here on Celebrity and the new Royal Caribbean ships as well. Why does it garner so much attention? Well, it's not really a balcony. It's a large window that comes down. And again, we covered this in a separate video we've uploaded to our channel. People either love this cabin or severely dislike it. But don't worry, there are traditional balcony cabins as well. Generally, we find that cabins on the Celebrity Edge class of ships are done nicely. They're spacious with good bathrooms. But in totality to us, we think Celebrity, with their new ship, the Excel, will be the most polished new cruise ship coming to the market in 2025. Not to say it's anything radically new, but they are honing these Edge-class ships, and with each release, they get ever better. So there we go, they've all got their different nuances, their different characteristics. Tell us which one you personally like. Which one are you either booking or do you intend to book? And don't forget, we have that new series on Holland America and their flagship, the Rotterdam, coming very soon. Remember to be subscribed so you know when that drops. By the way, if you're looking for any inspiration on which cruise line or ship to try, we have so many reviews on our channel, and we have some that you can see here, and indeed more that you can see here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Ritzy Travel Guide, and we'll see you in one of those.